Take it. I can relate to this man as an addict. This man is the one that had the legion of demons. In Mark chapter 5, 1 and following, remember, he was the one where Jesus finally sent all the demons into the swine and they jumped off the cliff. It was so bad for them. This guy had a legion of demons. Now, I don't believe in demon possession like he had today. The devil can't do this. But when we ingest drugs and alcohol, it's the same thing. The drugs will do the same thing to us. And when he had come out of the boat, immediately there met him, Jesus, out of the tombs, a man with an unclean spirit who had his dwelling among the tombs. This guy's living in a graveyard, a cemetery. He's living among the dead, and that's what drug addicts and alcoholics active in their addiction are doing. They're alive. But they're living among the dead, and really spiritually speaking and emotionally and intellectually, they're dead. This man was living among the tombs. And no one could bind him, not even with chains, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains. And the chains had been pulled apart by him and the shackles broken, and neither could anyone tame him. No one could tame me. Oh, they tried with counselors, psychologists, and psychiatrists, and medicine, and halfway houses, and drug programs, and mental hospitals, and jail. And then finally it was prison that broke my back. And that's what we're doing with Project Rescue, so they don't fall as far. No one could tame him. He had all those demons that were driving him nuts. And he's running through always night and day. He was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying out and cutting himself with stones. Picture this man running through the graveyard. He's crying out for help, and no help is there, and he's cutting himself. And that's like addiction with alcohol and drugs. He was hurting himself. He was so agitated. The despair was so deep. There was no hope. He's living in a graveyard. No hope. No hope. That's what we have with addiction. No hope, and without God in the world. We have some passages in the Bible about, it's been going on a long time, this place of hopelessness, not just with alcohol and drugs, other things too, but addiction. It causes such despair. It's a party at first, but by the time they start getting locked up, it's not fun anymore. Sometimes we'll have a group, there'll be 5, 10 men sitting around me, and I'll ask, "Are we having fun yet?" No, I can see it on their faces, the loss. This great resurrection chapter says if we have hope, notice it's in Christ even. But if it's only in this life, we're of all men, all people, the most miserable, pitiable people. No hope. No hope. Oh, wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? We're wretched, hopelessness. Paul in Romans 7 there in those passages describes it well, this place of hopelessness without Christ in your life. And it talks about the sorrow of the world. We Christians, we don't have to have the sorrow of the world. We can have godly sorrow when we need to make things right with God. But sorrow of the world produces death, produces separation from God in this life, and hope to God not in eternity. All the drugs, so many of them. It's been around a long time, alcohol and drugs. These are the ones popular in our day. And I'm able to see, I know it in my own life, the despair it's caused, but in the lives of others, we're able to see. We get calls from all around the brotherhood. We get calls from all around the country, from mothers and grandmothers and fathers and grandfathers and wives and, yes, husbands. They don't know what to do. And people caught up in it, I'm talking to them, they can't find a way and know what to do to change their lives. They're just caught in hopelessness and sorrow as others who have no hope. We all have sorrow. There's things that make us cry, things that bad that happen in our life, that happen to us and our loved ones, and we have sorrow. But there is a sorrow without hope. It's a deep, I hope you never have to feel it, young people. I hope you never have to experience that despair. And it talks about sin, how it grows. Desire is conceived in our heart, and it comes alive. An addiction comes alive in our heart. It happens in our brain, in our mind. And it grows, and when it's full grown, it brings forth death.